In this video, I want to share with you all how I incorporate improvisation into my compositions when I've been classically trained. I'm primarily dealing with scores. Even now, I write out most things note for note, but then I also leave certain sections open to improvisation. And over the years, that openness has widened, but it's been a process and I'm still working things out. Sometimes I think it works better than others for certain pieces. I want to use an example with this piece called Salad Music of mine. I first improvised over this riff for a video I did years ago, and I took that and I liked it, and I started fleshing it out, making distinct sections, and within those sections I leave some room for improvisation. So the first section, I am keeping more or less this figure going, and it's a constant, and over that I'm mostly using my left hand to improvise. I just add a lot of kind of random pokes. I feel like they're poking little pitches that kind of poke here and there. And then I use the middle pedal to sustain these chords. And depending on when and where I'm playing it, I feel like I just have some fun with the lengths of this section and how exactly I incorporate that. So, for example, I could do something like that, or I can maybe sit on this ninth here. I don't know. So you can see the differences are very subtle, and I'm not really doing much in terms of improvising with a lot of harmonic changes. And I think that's because, first of all, I'm not a seasoned improviser. So a lot of the things I end up doing in improvisation, even though in parts I am happy about how it turns out, sometimes I don't have much control over that, or maybe I'm just really picky about all of the voicings and the chords that happen, and I'm not able to pull it off in the moment all the time. So I tend not to rely on harmonic changes with improvisation. So from here, whether I stay on this section for 30 seconds or 2 minutes, I make my way to F major. And this is what I have exactly written now. Because for some reason, every time I improvise that, yes, I can get creative and make my way to the upper register. For some reason, this just stuck. Specifically, that motive, and it probably came from an improvisation, but it basically stuck enough that I consider it part of a written portion of the piece. Again, some improvisation, just riffing off of this. So I should probably describe this more as kind of a pulsating improvisation. So I'm not really improvising to find new ideas and go to new places, but I'm improvising to deal with the way it breathes and how much time we're spending around this and how much energy is surrounding that. And that's what changes from performance to performance in subtle ways. have this chord change in mind. It's just an open A flat stacked fifths. And here is a written out portion. Okay, so now we have made our way to E flat minor. Actually, it's E flat sus. But to me, it's sort of in E flat minor land first. And here is another place where I have room for improvisation because I can keep this going and then play whatever on top. And I don't know, in previous experiences, I've stayed on this for anywhere from, just a passing, maybe 3 or 4 passes, or I think once I stayed on here for like 2 minutes and kept doing different iterations of different lines. So a little bit of what I like to do. Usually I like to stick with E flat minor. And then sometimes I switch this G flat over for this E flat mixolydian sound or E flat 7. And even though I'm centered around just these 2 chords, I like to move them around sometimes. And I feel like I have the freedom to go basically anywhere as long as I respect the fact that I'm still gravitating around E flat. I also like the sound of A major over this and D major. And then whatever I do, I end up back centered around E flat so that I can move on to the next portion of the piece. And this continues on from section to section. I'll have maybe 3 or 4 bars that are exactly written out, note for note. And then I'll have a chord or a little section where I just leave it open-ended. And then just to wrap up with another section where I'm improvising, I just have this motive in mind. Not necessarily in this rhythm either, because sometimes I'll repeat this 3 times, sometimes I'll repeat it twice. Sorry, we have some interruptions. Okay, so. What I'm doing with my left hand as well varies from take to take or wherever I'm playing it. I also find that the instrument influences what I play in this section. If I am playing piano, I really like having this continuous thing, and I don't find it works well for, what was I using? Maybe this, because it gets muddy. So that sort of thing, I'll probably do something a little more sparse with the left hand. So I hope that gives you an idea of how I incorporate both improvisation and fixed written out material in my compositions. From piece to piece, of course, the extent of how much I do of this changes, but in general, this is how I've learned to just kind of mesh the 2 worlds together. And I think, just to wrap up some of my thoughts around this, still I am much more comfortable when I have something written out, especially if I'm playing it on my own, because I find that if you're on stage, or the times I've been on stage in the past, using improvisation in my pieces, it was a lot more successful than doing it on my own, because I could feed off the energy in the hall, in the room with the people. So anyway, hope that was interesting. I will see you in the next video.